My name is Brent Ellisons. My handle is 6E, SIXIE, number 6 letter E. This is part 4 of how police enforce crime for state revenue and control and are a severe social threat. This is going to be focused on these side corporations that construct the framework of this revenue generating construct. There is an absurd and unbelievable amount of federal debt credits tumbling in and throughout this revenue generating monster machine they call criminal justice. When revenue and control are the bottom line, that never creates a healthy existence for beings on this planet. The state insulates itself from most, horrible events that happen, while furthering its efforts for revenue and control by outsourcing the things that it needs to maintain people. Transportation, food, healthcare, urine analysis. So these corporations that distribute the urine analysis tests, that, process them, they have false it's an alarming inaccuracy rate. And the sweat patches are even worse. Sweat patches have up to like 40% error rate. It's just horrible. But no matter what, even if it's wrong, in the meantime, the person gets punished. So back up, and you're in prison, in a facility for something, and you get a UA, and you didn't use, but you just happen to be one of the statistics for the error rate. Well, now you develop a routine, and so now your entire routine and, semi-comfortable daily, is now uprooted. You go to jail in jail. It's absurd. But it's just paperwork and policy. SIVA, they $49 million annually from these tests they make. That's horrible. If you want to see an example of, false positive causing severe suffering, search for Kearney in New York and his painkiller situation. If you are post facility, if you are post release, and you're on supervision, then these false positives, they cause people to lose their freedom all the time. But what do you go? I promise I didn't use. Most people are gonna say I didn't use, but it doesn't matter. They're going to do what their policy says. The test came back this way. This is what they have to do. And they are insulated from any responsibility or wrongdoing because we're just doing what the paperwork said. I'm just doing my job. People like to equate, the just doing my job line to the suited militant nationalist enforcers with flak jackets and boots out on the street. But they forget about the administration. Like Adolf Eichmann, the banality of evil, Eichmann in Jerusalem, like it's called, just people that push paperwork and they don't actually think that they're doing anything wrong. I'm just trying to achieve rank. I'm trying to move up, and this is what I have to do it. And I get, commendation, ceremonies, and all kinds of things for it, Never here, could never happen in America. Nuh-uh. Not with massive parchment. Now, if you're on supervision, there are companies such as BI Incorporated. They make upwards of $100 million a year. What they do, they make like ankle bracelets, for house arrest monitors and things like that. Now, recently, they've made about $500 million just in ICE contracts alone. Again, as I talked about in the last video with JPATs and the A in their name and just dehumanization. ICE is definitely a horrible, horrible agency, but they all think that they're doing the right thing, and that's even more frightening. Now, speaking of ICE, these facilities, there are 50,000 youths housed in detention facilities, and 10,000 of those are refugees. That is, I don't even have the words. It's such disgustingly depraved behavior by these flag-waving parchment worshippers. In order for people to exist inside of a prison, someone has to build that prison. And that's where Turner Construction comes in with their $14 billion industry. Hey, and in addition to prisons, they have crazy contracts, like $1.3 million to fix a display case to house an American flag. Think about that. 1.3 million federal debt credits for a display case for nationalist symbolism, while people inside that nationalist geographic boundary are struggling for basic needs: food, water, shelter, medical care. That shows you what we are to them. We are nothing. Prisoners have to eat. So in comes Aramark and corporations like them. They bid for the lowest food contract. Now, just as with medical care, the lowest, cheapest is not going to be the best. It's whatever they can get away with outdoing. And the food corporations are no different. And so you have inmates who are without money, without families that can support them with commissary, who are forced to eat this sustenance, while other prisoners are able to go to the store and buy, all the corporate snacks available, chips and things, rarely healthy things. Notice, and the markup on those items is absurd, especially in county jails, where ramen soup would be, 11 cents in the grocery store. It is $1.10. That was in Oklahoma. I don't know what it is. It's different in other places, but it's horrible that they do that, and it's not usually the inmate. That money doesn't usually come from the prisoner. It comes from the prisoner's families. Aramark with their $12 billion, Securus Tech with their hundreds of millions of dollars, Global Tel-Link, and now G-Tel with their hundreds of millions of dollars, so that people can have little corporate snacks and be able to speak to their families. Now, healthcare is often denied. It's what they can get away with outdoing. The food and medical situation, usually, inmates are denied health care up until the most extreme circumstances. They can fill out a kite to go to medical, and they can get seen whenever, but as far as the medical staff saying that something needs to be done or furthering, they are more concerned with budget than they are with the health. The majority, you have genuinely compassionate medical staff in these facilities, but overall, the administrators, the bottom line is the revenue and the bean counting, and it's always the housed that are going to suffer for it, and they do daily. That being the bottom line, healthcare contracts are bid for. Whoever is willing to see each inmate on the lowest cost per inmate basis. If somebody obviously finally is shown to exhibit severe enough symptoms where they need to be transported to a medical facility, then they're transported to where whoever will do it for the cheapest. And usually the cheapest healthcare is not the best healthcare. if you are fortunate enough to get bail, if you pay your ransom fee and your kidnappers let you go, let's talk about how that happened. It's an unregulated industry. Obviously, people in urban areas, concentrated communities, usually black and brown people, Spanish people, Mexican people, are affected severely more. And when bail bondsmen, that's their industry, that's their revenue source. But they also, in addition to federal debt credits, they accept property. They will accept a debt contract, for installments, but they will also accept property. So they're all about just getting revenue and property. So if the state accuses somebody of something, these are people who have never been convicted, even, now juror bias and the inner workings of an authoritarian, abusive courtroom is for another video. But from 1990 to 2009, bail bond releases doubled, while people being released on their own recognizance declined by half. That's how hard the industry, it's just so much revenue. And then the bail commissioner gets a chunk. Here in Maine, you get $60 every time somebody gets bailed out. And if people are cycling through there daily, I mean, man, you easily make $600-700 depending. And that's just from that little section. And as with anything else, all these little things, they might not seem like such a huge thing. Like, oh, just I gotta give them $60 and I can go free. What? Okay, here. Oh. But system-wide, these little things add up. And they add up to severely oppressive socioeconomic chains. It does not solve human behavior, no matter what they try to say. And bail is not about safety or security. It's about revenue. If somebody steals and they can't afford something, obviously they can't afford their bail. So they sit in there and they're in there for theft. But let's say somebody who, broke in somebody's home and raped their grandmother. Like, that person, right, has money. And they have a $100,000 bill, but they can go free because they can pay it. And a lot of bail bondsmen, yes, get hit with these small $100, $500 bails. But generally, the more money, that's the ones that they want. If somebody has $1 million bail and somebody's going to pay that, and generally the higher the bail is, the more severe the crime, right? Who knows? The system is irrational all the time in different places, in different parts, and different things apply to different people at different times, and so it's all garbage. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up this one. But again, those straws add up, and you got to break those socioeconomic chains. Stop letting them dominate your peers with your permission. Stop letting them dominate people you don't even know with their permission. Their enemy, the state's enemy, is not necessarily your enemy.